What's it doing here? There we go. All right. Is everybody still with me, or did I lose everybody?
No, we're here. We see you.
Okay, because my screen is kind of acting up here for just a second. Let me see if I can get in here because I want to present, and it's not. Of course, it's not letting me do what I want to do. So let me just start off by saying I think I finally got it now. So let me turn off my camera. All right, there we go. Let me present. Okay. So first of all, welcome to Google Draw. And if you've never used Google Draw, it is an amazing tool. I'm actually going to go into a Google Draw right now.
And Misha,
to get to Google Draw,
we're still not seeing your screen.
Are you seeing my screen now?
Now it's coming up.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking a little, it's like on a little bit of a delay. Yeah. All right, so this is Google Draw, and to get to Google Draw, the way I always tell people to go is how do you normally get to work if we don't have COVID hanging around? You get in your car and you drive to work. You don't walk down the hall like most of us are doing these days. So you drive. So I always tell people to go to Drive. And when you click on New, you've got your Google Docs, you've got your Google Slides, and there's one called Google Draw. And this is what Google Draw looks like when you first open it up. And you're going to say, okay, that's kind of nice. This little background here, this checkerboard background, means that the background is going to be transparent. And that's kind of a cool thing because that means we can make some really cool graphics. And that's how I make my badges. And speaking of badges, we will be sending the link out to you for the badges because I didn't make any bit.lys this weekend. I was really busy doing a lot of other things and I forgot to make the bit.lys. But we will get that out to you before the end of the day, I promise. So you can get your badge for today. And
we forgive you this time, Misha.
I apologize. I actually spent time with my family for Father's Day, and time got away from me. So, anyway, so the background is going to be transparent, and which means that you can create all kinds of really cool graphics and all kinds of stuff for your students, for you, using Google Draw. So one of the first things I want to do is I want to name my drawing. And the reason that you want to make sure you give everything in a name in your Google Drive is because your Google Drive is set up alphabetically. And it is going to give everything the same title, whether it's a document, a Google Slides, a Google Form, it's going to call it Untitled. U, where does U fall in our alphabet? Of course, it's towards the end, which means it's going to put it down in the very bottom of your Google Drive where you will never see it again. I cannot tell you how many untitled documents, drawings, slideshows that I have in the bottom of my Google Drive from all the different presentations and trainings I have done, and then I forget to go back and delete them. I started doing that a few weeks ago, and I cannot believe how many that I have down there. So you always want to make sure that you name your documents. So I'm going to name this one Practice Picture. Okay. All right. So now I have my title. I push enter, and then now there's my title. Now I'm good in my title. Let me see. I think we have somebody trying to get in. Okay, people, you need to be using your Google accounts. I've admitted several people in here. We need to make sure you're logged in with Google. All right. So I'm back in here now, and one of the things that you've got all of these really great tools here to use. Now, why would I want to create something in Google Draw? All right, well, Google Docs is an awesome tool that we have where we can bring in pictures and we can bring in text, and that's great, except for one thing. I cannot put text over the top of my pictures. I cannot put pictures over the top of my text. I cannot layer things, but in a Google Draw, I can put a shape up here. Here's my shapes. I'm going to just put a shape in here. This is a rectangle. And you'll notice that the color of the rectangle it always goes to this default color, this light blue color. To change that, you click on the little paint, and I'm going to change it to green because that's my most favorite color in the world. There we go. It's nice and green. And then I have the ability to move it anywhere around. I can change the size. The little handles on the sides make it so I can change how large it is. And the dimensions of it. It will keep the dimensions. The little ball on top will allow me to swivel it. Okay. And that'll be on the top of even your images that you put into your Google Draw. Okay. Now, one of the things that I have seen these types of shapes used for is making like a magnetic poetry board or a vocabulary where the kids have to actually drag things. I can put words in here, and I can make several of these, and then they would just have to move them around. I can make a copy of this for each one of my students, and then they move them to the appropriate places, and then they would turn that in as an assignment. Wow, that's awesome. That's one way to use Google Draw. But that's again for that interactivity with students. But if I want to create something, we have people out there who have been asking me about the badges. How do we make the badges? How do I make something that I can send to my students and in a way that's where they're not going to be able to edit it and change it? And one of the things I can do in Google Draw is I can download. Okay, right here. Here's the download. And I recommend downloading your image as a PNG. So you put your image together, you make your Google Draw, and then you can download it, and it'll download to your computer, and then you have a copy of it, and then that's what you can share out with your students. And you can then upload that back into Google as an image, because this is not an image. This is just the drawing component. This is it's kind of like, when you open up a Google document and you have the edit rights. We don't want that for our students. We want them to have something where they can't edit it. Now, if you want them to move the slides around, let's say you do want to do like a magnetic board, you will need to give them a copy of the Google Draw, not the image. I hope I'm clear as mud on that one. So, do we have a question? I'm hearing some movement back there, or are we okay?
Oh, we're fine. We're good.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's take a look at what some of these tools are that we have to work with. Of course, we talked a little bit about the shape tool. Let me get back in here. Somebody else is asking to join. There. Okay. All right. So we talked about the shape tool, and you'll see that you have a lot of different shapes that you can put in here. This is just the shapes, and then you've got arrows, lots of different arrows, call outs, which are, like our speech bubbles, and even equation pieces that you can put in here. Okay. So, equation pieces, you mean like for math? Yeah, like for math. All right. And we can also put lines in here. So if I click on the little disclosure arrow here next to the line, I can make straight lines. I can make lines with arrows, which is just like what we can do like with Pages or a Microsoft Word document. We've got all those same things. But right here, we have the scribble line. And the scribble line allows me to do just that. I can actually make a scribble on the page, and you can draw it in any way that you want with your mouse. So that's something to think about, that you can actually use this tool. You can have your students use this tool to draw whatever it is that you want to draw. Or if you want them to label something, they could actually use this as a part of their labeling technique as well. I do like the little draw tool that because it allows you to give a little more of an effect there. So, and to erase it, how do I erase it? How do I get rid of this? Well, you can do it two ways. You can do a Command Z. Okay, make it go away. Okay, or I think there is an eraser in here that I can use to erase. I usually always use the Command Z, because it just is the undo to take it away. Now, one of the really cool, speaking of taking things away, one of the really cool things that you can do, let's say that you've made some changes to your Google Draw, and you're like, oh no, I made a change. I changed I made my shape too big. What am I going to do? How would I fix that? You can go right up here where it says last edit right here. This is actually a link, and you're going to see all the different versions that I've done here. I even did a couple yesterday on this document just so I could go back to them and show them to you. So if I click on the disclosure arrow, it's going to show me all of the things that I added just today, just this morning. You see it's going by time, right? And this is also on every Google document and Google slide that you have. So you have this option there too. And it'll even show you, because it gives me I'm green because it's me. But if I had other people in this document with me, they would be a different color. Their little dot would be a different color. And so I would actually be able to see who did what on this Google Draw. That might be something if I'm giving an assignment to a group of students, right? That would be a very cool feature to have. So I'm actually going to go back to yesterday. And I'm going to go back to this version right here, because I put all kinds of stuff in here. And it right here says restore this version. So I click restore this version. This is asked me one more time, are you sure you want to restore this version? And I'm going to go ahead and restore it. And so now it put in here, I put in a shape in here with some wording in there. And I actually also put a chart in there. Now, when you put charts into Google Draw, it's not a live active chart like when you put it into like a Google site or when you have it off of a spreadsheet. If I attach it to a spreadsheet and I make changes on the spreadsheet, it may or may not make changes here because it's not always live on a Google Draw. It's considering this an image, and it says right here that this is an image. So I can actually, since I have the little handles around it, I can actually hit the delete button and I can make it go away. Okay, so which means it was just really like an image. Now, if I put an image in here, I can change that image super fast. Okay, but how do I get images in here? You're talking about images, but you haven't shown this yet. So right here we have insert image. Okay. And I can upload them from my computer if I have any. I don't have a whole lot on my computer. I can search the web, which I'm going to do in just a second. If I've got some in my Google Drive, I can pull them out from Google Drive, or if I have some in my Google Photos, I can pull them out from there. You do not want to use this one by URL. And that is because you do not have permission to get other people's photos from their websites. I don't know why they have this in there. This is not something that follows our copyright laws or what we're trying to show with our kids. So I stay away from the URL one. You can also take a picture of yourself with your camera and then insert that as well. But I'm going to go back up here to search the web. And I'm sorry for those of you who've been in my presentations before, you know what I always search for. What do I search for, Becky?
You search for sharks, Misha.
That's right. Always, always. And I love this picture right here. This is my favorite Bruce right here. I click on him and I get a little blue check mark there, and I'm going to click insert, and it's going to insert that picture right there, right into my Google Draw. And now what I can do is I can add the lines. I can add straight lines, or I can add squiggly lines to him. I can add more text boxes, and I can label all the parts. You know, here's his dorsal fin, here, you know, his pectoral fins, whatever it is that I want to do to this image. Again, I have the ability to slide it whichever way I want to. I can make it bigger or smaller based on using those little blue handles that are around the edge of the image there. Okay, now look here, it says replace image. So let's say this isn't the image I wanted. Well, instead of just deleting it, what I can do in this size that's right here that I've added, I can go in here and I can say replace image. And I can say, okay, we're going to search the web again. And this time we'll search for eels, just to be different. Okay. Ooh, this is a pretty one. I like this one. So I click on the picture and I'm going to click replace. And there we go. It just replaced the image for me in the same amount of space. I did not have to resize it or anything. I just replaced the image with another image that was on Google. And again, I can use these images anywhere because they are not copyrighted. I mean, they're copyright free or friendly, if you will. Okay. So now, how do I determine how big my canvas is? Because Google Draw allows you to change the size of what you're working on. Like I have a specific size that I use for my badges, and I have a specific size that I use for my certificates or whatever else that I'm going to create. How do I check that? How do I change that? That's going to be over here under File. And I go all the way down to where it says Page Setup. Okay. Right now I'm working off of the standard. This is the standard that it gives me, the 4x3. Well, maybe I don't want that. So if I click on the little disclosure arrow, I can do a widescreen if I want, or I can do custom. And this is what I normally do. I don't like it to be in inches because I don't think in inches when I think about things that are online. I think in terms of pixels. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to pixels. And this is 960 by 720. That means this is a huge, huge platform. I don't want that. I want it to be smaller because I'm going to make a badge. So I'm going to do 250 by 250 pixels, and it's going to shrink it down. So now it's like I have a square here. So this is 250 by 250, which is a lot smaller image. And you can play with that and see what works for you. You can actually do inches if you wanted to. If you wanted to make it, you know, in like an 8.5 by 11, if you wanted it to be like a standard piece of paper, or if you wanted it to be a larger, like a legal size piece of paper, it's up to you. Not that we're going to be printing anything, we can, but if in your mind, if that's the size that you wanted to send out to students, or if that's something you wanted to send out as an assignment. But I'm going to do 250 by 250, which is, it looks very big here. I mean, it's not super big when you get it in like an email or as a PDF or whatever, but you know, it's a good enough size. I can go in here and actually work in here. Okay. So we talked about the squiggle line. We've talked about the shapes. Here's text, my text box right here. So if I click on text box, you're going to say, well, it didn't give me a text box, but it gave me a little plus sign. When I click, there's my text box. And now I can type in some text. If I don't like the size, or if I don't like the font, I just highlight it. And right here is where the font is. I click on it. I like the Iceland font. There we go. And I can change the size of it to whatever size that I want. Okay. And then if the box is too big, you can always kind of shrink the box down a little bit if you're worried about that. It's not going to show up anywhere. But for me, if I want to add more stuff, sometimes it looks to me like it's getting in the way. And so and you'll see that it's kind of down below. It'll do that. Sometimes you're just like, why does it do that? I don't have a reason for it. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes the text is actually inside the box, but as I move the box, the text is also moving. You'll notice, but it's just down below it. Okay. So you don't have to worry about that, but you can change whatever to whatever font that you want. Now, let's say that you're looking for a font and you don't see it here. You don't see the one that you want. Is there a way to get more fonts? Let's look at the top here where it says more fonts. Google has so many fonts, and you can just go through them. I'm going to go ahead and click in here just to show you what it looks like. Can you still see my screen? You see the little window?
Yes.
Okay, because sometimes those windows don't always appear. All right, so now what I can do is I can look through these and I can find the ones that I want. The ones that have the little blue check marks are ones that I already have. Okay, and it'll list your fonts over here. If you don't want them anymore, you just click the little X and that font will go away, and it will not be there as a part of your Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Draw, or anything. So you can add all the different fonts in here that you want. You see I have this one, and as I'm going down through, it's going to show me the ones that I have and ones that I can add to it. There's a ton of them in here. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel and take me back out. Okay, so that's under fonts. That's here, more fonts right there. Okay, and it shows you what your most recent were, and then of course all of your fonts are listed below, and then your size of your font, etc. Okay, are there any questions about using fonts?
There is a question, Misha, and
yes.
I was gonna try to answer it, but I think you can answer it in words a little better. It's is the text inside the box even if it doesn't appear so? So I'm thinking that
Yes.
because your word text isn't exactly inside that box, it's still part of that box, correct?
Yes. And where you see it on the page is exactly where it's going to be. So I just pretend like this box right here, this little blue box is just like, it's just like my mover, right? Even though the text isn't in the box, and sometimes it will be and sometimes it won't be. And again, I don't have a reason for why it's like that. It's also like that in Google Slides too. But just know that as you move it, wherever it is that you've moved that text. So if I were to save this, my text would be right here next to this box. It's not going to be up here. It's going to be exactly where it is on the page.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
Okay.
But I was going to say that I think that it might be that, well, no, it doesn't have a space up at the top. You're
No.
right. It's weird.
It's just,
I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
sure.
It's going to appear where the box is or where the text is?
Where the text actually is.
Okay,
Where
thank
the
you.
text. So don't worry about the box. Pretend the box isn't even there. Just focus on where your text is on your page, because that's where it's going to live. That's where it's going to
Thank
be when
you.
you download it or save it. Yes.
I've had tons of problems with that. Thank you.
Yes, yes, I know. It's one of those things. It's like, oh, which one should I be looking at? You know, and so yeah, just don't worry about the box. The box to me is just there to move it around, and if I want to, change how it looks, if I want to change the size, whatever the size of the box. But I just worry about where the text is when I create my badges and stuff. That's what I focus on. I focus on where the words are on the page, because that's where they're going to live when I go to download it. Okay.
That's WYSIWYG. That's called what you see is what you get. So exactly where you see those letters, it's where
You're
those
right.
letters are, that's where they appear. So it's WYSIWYG. That's the,
you know what? I have heard the term WYSIWYG, and I know that there's like sites for all of that stuff, but I never knew exactly what it stood for until
It's
now.
what
Wow.
you see is what you get. It's
What
an old
you see is what you get.
Steve Wozniak invented that
See,
term.
and I've heard it, and I know I kind of knew what it meant, but I never knew that that's actually what it stood for. I just learned
that's it.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm
Okay.
done for the day, Misha. Have a good show.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. What I do want to show you, I want to show you again about the color fill here, because there might be a couple of questions about this. So when I clicked on this box right here, remember it was kind of a light blue color, and I changed it to a green color. I'm going to go ahead and change this again to like yellow. Okay. Do you notice that there is an outline around it? The outline is this right here, the border color. So if you go to change the color of a shape, you also need to make sure you change the border color if you don't want it to show up. So I'll just go ahead and change both of them. So see, now I do not have a border because they're both exactly the same color. If I click on it again and I make it black, now I have a black even around my word there. Okay, so it's like that might be a little maddening for some people. I can even change. You know what? These are grouped together also. That's right. I did group these. That's why you do see the line around the text as well. If you notice here, I said that these are grouped together. What I did under arrange. I'm going to ungroup these just so you can see what I mean. Okay. When I ungroup them, I can move the word up here. Okay. And you see, I was able to even get this in the yellow inside of that. I'm going to make that transparent, and I'm going to make this transparent. So there's no box around it anymore. Okay. This is no longer grouped with this. When you group them together, what that means is it's almost like you tape them to one another. And that way, when you move one, you move the other as well. And that can be very helpful if you are putting words inside of shapes or other things. So if I put this back inside of here, like this, okay, and I go to move the shape, look what happens. The word stays there, but the shape moves. I don't want that to happen. So what I do is I'm going to make sure that I have my box selected, and I'm going to right click, and if you're on a Mac, a right click is a little bit different. I do a control click, and so now I've selected both of them, and you're going to see right here. Here's the word group. Click group. So now, when I move, the whole thing moves together, which might be what I want, especially if I'm doing the magnetic poetry or if I'm having them do some kind of vocabulary activity. Now they're grouped together. Okay, so that's how you group and ungroup. And again, to do that, you go to arrange, and you go to group, to ungroup them, you click ungroup. To group them, you click on one of them, and then you right click on the other one, and then it will group them together for you. You just click the word group. Okay. So that's something that you might want to do as well. And under arrange also, I'm going to go ahead and move this one here and see what happens. It kind of, it's moving, it moved the box, but it didn't move the word. I just ungrouped them, but you're going to see that the text is in front of the box. Do you see that? Well, what if I don't want that? What if I want the box in front of the text? How do I do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to arrange. Actually, hang on just a second here. Make sure that I have them all together. And I'm going to order them. So I can bring part of it to the front. I can bring part of it forward, just like you can in any kind of drawing, where if you want certain words in front or certain images in front. So if I say bring forward, I think my text here, let's move my text over here, and I'm going to bring this down here, and I'm going to click and bring this to the front here. I'm going to ungroup them first, and here we go. I'm going to move this. It should allow me to move this in front. So I'm going to bring this to the front, and you'll see now that I brought the box to the front. It's covering my text, right? And so what happens is, as you put images or shapes or text onto your mat here, onto Google Draw, whatever you put last, that is what's on top. That is what is in the front. So if I make some text and then I put a shape that I want the text to show through, I'm going to need to order them. I'm going to need to arrange them, and I can send to the back. So that way my text will come through in the event that you did that. So you might need, hey, how come I can't see my text? Every time I put it on, then my text is missing. You just need to reorder it, and you do that under the arrange. And this is also where you can group. The rotate is in here as well, but again, all you have to do the rotate. You just, you just get that little ball on the top, and then you can rotate however it is that you wish to do so. Okay, are no questions? We're still good on time.
Misha, you will be covering cropping.
Yes, of the pictures. Yes, we're going to get into the pictures. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just
yes,
making.
No, you know what? That's a good segue to go right now. So here we go. Here's my image, right? All right. So once you're on your image, right here is your cropping. So if I click in here, you're going to see that I get this almost like where it made it a little bit darker, and I have these little black bars around. So I'm going to go ahead and I can shrink it down like that, and shrink it down like that. Oops, I just moved my image. Moved the wrong piece. And it happens all the time. You just have to kind of figure out which one am I working with. And again, I'm moving my image.
It's skill. It's skill.
And, and just sometimes it looks like you're in the right place, but you're not. So, all right, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave that crop like that. Okay. So I cropped out like the rock around here. And when I click, and there's my image. So yes, you're able to crop an image within here. That's pretty much, they don't have a whole lot of formatting. You can do a little bit of the recoloring here and adjustments, but it's not like a whole lot. The adjustments are, you can make it transparent. Okay, let's see, it's completely transparent. So he's kind of transparent now. So let's say that I'm making a certificate and I want to put the seal for Isleta in behind. It's super bright. I won't be able to read whose certificate it is. I could put that image in here, and then I can lighten it up with my transparency. And so you can still see the outline of the Isleta seal, but it's not like in your face. And so I can still read whose certificate it's going to go to or whatever. So this is a way to do that. And so you can change the brightness and the contrast as well. It's even got a feature where you can do a drop shadow if you want to. And there's even a reflection piece. And let me bring this up a little bit so you can see the reflection. See, there's the reflection down here. Okay, and it's even got like a little tiny drop shadow down there too. I'm going to get rid of the drop shadow, and now you see that the darkness has gone away a little bit, and then I can take the reflection off and it's not there anymore. So you can do this. This can be done with text. This can be done with images as well. So again, you do have some options with images. They're not like, it's not like a whole lot of options that you can do, but you can crop. I do that a lot. If I find an image of something and I'm like, oh, I only want this one part of the image, you can crop it. You just have, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to do that, but that's again how we do it. And we can go walk through those steps one more time just to make sure everybody got it. So first of all, you want to click on the image to make sure that you have your little handles. Okay. And then up here, this is the crop image. And then you're going to get this little black box that's going to show you where it's already cropped, or if it's not cropped, it'll be all the way out to the edge of the image. And then I can actually go back out here if I wanted to. I can uncrop some of this. So because it still has the whole image within there, and it's just cutting out a little bit of it for me. So I can do that. Let me just kind of right there. There we go. And now I click out of it, and then now you see how it cropped it. Okay. And this one right here will actually reset the image. If I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't like what I did. I can actually reset the entire image and it'll bring it back to the way that it was before. You see, it's nice and bright again, and it is the entire image again. It reset it completely for me in the event that, because sometimes, you know, we make adjustments, we do transparencies or whatever, and then it's like, oh my gosh, it looks nothing like I wanted it to look. There's always the reset button where you can go back and reset it again. Okay. Another thing up here in the tools that I want to look at are links. Okay. So I'm going to bring this text over here. All right. And I'm going to highlight this text, and I should be able to insert a link to it. Okay. So if I wanted to paste a link and I wanted to paste it to the YISD website, oops, if I could spell, there we go. And I click apply. There, now when you click on that, it's going to take you to the website. So you can actually insert text links as well into a Google Draw. Now, let me just say this. If I were to download this Google Draw as an image, this link will not be there. It's only going to be live if it's still in the Google Draw format. Okay. If I go over here to download and I download it as a PDF, even as a PDF, there's a high chance it's not going to be there, because when you sometimes when it does that conversion, the link will be gone. But I'm going to tell you that any of these other ones, it will not be there. It'll look like it's there and you'll want to click on it, but it will not be there. So if you're going to insert a link into a Google Draw, make sure that you keep it in the Google Draw environment, so that way that link will work. And because a lot of times oh, that's really cool, now I can download it. It's not going to work as an image. Okay, so just be aware of that. So I can, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this link out of there. We don't need the link in there. Okay. You'll see here there is a print feature. Of course, we recommend that we're not printing as much as we used to, and plus, you know, and these days we don't have anywhere to print for our students. The best way to do it is to send this out to students, right? Which you can do. So how do I send this out? Let's say I'm doing something on magnetic poetry and I've got all my words in here that I want my kids to work with. How is it I'm gonna send this out? Well, there's a couple of ways that you can send this out. First of all, Google Classroom. You go into your Google Classroom and then you click on Drive, click on your Drive, and then it's going to go to your most recent things that you've done on Drive, and the one that will come up is Google Draw, and then you, of course, make a copy for every student, and it'll make a copy of this for your kids. It'll put their name up here as part of the title, and then that way you'll be able to see what they've done. That's one way. Another way is that, say you want to share this out with a colleague. So you're going to click on the blue share button, and you're going to notice that the sharing permissions look a little bit different, right? It says share with people in groups right here. So if I wanted to share it just with Rebecca, okay, I'm going to share it with her. Okay, so now it's going to be shared with just her, and I can make her an editor. I can make her a viewer. I can make her a commenter. I'm going to let her be an editor. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and send that to her.
Okay. Thank you, Misha.
You're welcome. I'm feeling very sherry today.
Oh, you are.
Okay, so now I shared it with one person. But what if I want to share it with like a whole group of people? I don't want to have to put in their email addresses. So I click on share. And these are the people that I've shared it with, but I can get a link. So I'm going to go ahead, and it's restricted. I don't want it to be restricted anymore. I want to send it to anybody in YISD who has the link. I copy the link, and then I put that into where? An email. And then they'll have access to it as well, and they'll be able to access it. Actually, they don't even have to go into their email because it's Google. They can just go to the shared with me, and oh no, that's if I share it with them individually. To get to it, they will have to go through the email in order to get it because they have the link. I'm getting ahead of myself, and then just click done. And that's it. Okay, that's how that share button is important. But again, this is not how I would share out with my students. I would share it with Google Classroom. That would be the most efficient way to share out a Google Draw. Okay, so we've got all kinds of lines. We've got shapes. We've got text. We can add images. What's this one here? Add a comment. So let's say I've got a group of kids and they're working on this. I guess they're going to label the parts of this moray eel right here. You can add a comment. And you can do this on Google Docs as well and Google Slides as well. Okay. So if I were to add a comment, great image. And then I click comment, and now I've sent a comment to everybody who is working on this particular assignment. Now, if I wanted to send a comment to just like one student, maybe I've noticed if I've gone back through my all of the different versions, and I've noticed that, you know, Becky hasn't put anything yet. I can make a comment, and I can put a plus sign, and then I can do Rebecca Roan right there, and with that plus sign right there, that means that this comment's going to go out to her. Okay, and then so I'm mentioning her, and I'm going to say, where is your image? Okay, and I click comment, and now you'll see that she's going to get this. She's actually going to get an email about this, that I have sent something to her through the Google Draw. And you can do this again with Google Docs and Google Slides as well. So this feature is just not for Google Draw, but I'm mentioning this to you because since we're doing more of this remote stuff, this is a really great way to focus on those particular students that you might want to talk to, but you might not necessarily, you know, sometimes maybe they don't read their email all the time. But if they are working on this, they like I said, they will get a notification that says that you've asked them to get in there. So, and then what will happen is Rebecca can go in here, and then she can click the resolve button and say, hey, you know what, I added my image. She could respond to me. She would put the plus sign and Misha Daniel, and then she could respond exactly to me as the teacher and say, I added my image, Mrs. Daniel, here it is. And then I'm okay, that's cool. So you can have many comments here from anybody who is this document, this Google Draw is shared out with. Okay, how's that? Oh, I see Becky.
So far, so good. I'm coming in, and I'm going to add my comment here if I can.
All right.
Remember.
All right. Just do you with a little plus sign. Now, what if I am working on a Google Draw, and you know, sometimes the way things look, you want. Oh, there we go. There's that. You see, she just added a comment right there, and you want things to be exactly even, right? So let's say that I have this picture here. If it'll let me click back on it. Okay, come on now. Let me go back to my pointer. There we go. All right, so I have my picture here, and I have my box here, and I want these to be exactly even. And sometimes what I see, I think it might be even, but it, you know, obviously that's not even. How can I make sure that these are exactly at the same height? There are some guides in here that can help you. Okay, so I'm going to show the guides. And what's really cool about them is you can put them wherever it is. You know what? I want it to be right underneath the word here. And then I want this image to be right at the same level. So I can kind of move it up, right? And get it exactly where I want it. Now, right now, I think it's because of my Snap to. Right now, I have a Snap to grid. I'm going to change that to Snap to guides. And what that's going to do is it's going to move my image or what my text exactly to the guides. Yep. See, I just was able to do that. And I'm going to do that with this as well. I can just move it right and put it right up there. I recommend using the guides over the grid because it's going to make it a little bit easier for you to move things around. And of course I have a guide this way too, so I can make sure that everything is on the same line going vertically and as well as horizontally. So these guides are really cool. And to get here again, I just went up here to view and then I said show guides. Okay, and you can even add guides if you want to. And then if you don't want them on there anymore, you just clear the guides and they will go away. Okay, that's under view. And of course you can zoom in on your Google Draw. If you need to add something that's a very small detail, you can do that as well. Zoom in and zoom out. You can show the ruler. I do like to have the ruler at the top to show me how big something is. Now again, that this is in pixels, but this right here, this is showing me the ruler. I believe this is in inches up at the top, based on my pixels. Okay. So if you don't want the ruler anymore, again, you just click on it and it will go away. All right. So your view is kind of nice because it's gonna let you add those guides, which for me they're very helpful, especially when I'm working on something that I want to make sure is visually pleasing for my boss or for something that we're putting out to the district. I want to make sure that everything is at the right level and even. So I do like to use these guides a lot. And again, the Snap to, I would have it Snap to guides over grid because the grid, it's going to be very difficult to align things up. I have found that over the years that I like to stay with the guides as opposed to the grid. Okay. All right. So again, you can undo and redo things as needed. But I recommend using the version history because the version history is going to be your best friend as far as, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Of course, you can do an undo, a Command Z, but I prefer to use the version history to get back to I use one drawing over and over and over again when I do my badges, and I just go back to the version history, change it, and fix it up the way that I want it. So that's what I do there to do that. And again, under the file, download is my very, very, very best friend, and I do use these a lot. Now I want to talk a little bit about this one right here, publish to the web. You see that on Google Slides as well, but let's just say that I am going to add this image for whatever reason. I'm going to add this Google Draw to a spreadsheet. Okay, because that can happen. I can insert an image into a spreadsheet. In order for it to be seen by everybody, I have to publish it to the web. Now, I don't have any student information on here. Okay, I can do a link or I can embed it, and it's showing me the image size is 250 by 250. I can actually change that. Okay, I can make it small, medium, or large. I'm going to keep it as medium. And once I hit publish, it's going to give me the link. And this is the link that I could put into if I were using a Google Sheet or something that where it's going to be kind of seen outside. Now it's published to the web. Okay. So I can also embed it. It gives me an embed code. So I could put this like on a website. Let's say I make this really cool graphic for my school, right? I can actually get this embed code, and we can I can send that to my ITS teacher, and we can get it on our website by using the embed code. Okay, so that's just something to think about. You make this really great image, maybe for an after-school club, or one of your kids makes this incredible image because they they can use this stuff too. Get that embed code, and then you can put that somewhere else after you've published it to the web, of course. If you don't want to continue publishing it, okay, you can just click stop publishing. And when you do that, it's no longer published. It's no longer viewable by anybody but the people who it is shared with. And then you'll notice that the publish comes back up in blue. Okay. So that's another really cool feature with Google Draw, is that we can publish it, and then it can be seen by other people with that embed code. Okay, now this isn't something I really want to publish right now, but if I had worked really hard and put lots of layers in here and done some really cool stuff, this might be something that I would want to publish out for my school, for my campus. Okay, all right. How are we doing on time? We are down to not very much longer. All right. I want to make sure I've gone over everything. Okay, let's talk about
15.
Yeah, we're about 15
minutes
minutes out. All right, so we're going to talk about the borders here again, and with our shape, of course, the inside is yellow and the border is black. If I want to make this border darker, right now it's at 1 pixel. I can make it like 12 pixels, and look at that. You'll see how it got really super thick, right? I can make it 4 pixels. I can make it 2 pixels. I can make it 1 pixel. Or I can make it so there's no border at all. And how do I do that? I change the color of the border, so that way there is no border. Okay, that's just a quick tip, and that also again works around words too. We saw that a little bit earlier. All right. You can also change the kind of border that you have. So right now we have a solid border around this one here. We have a 1 pixel solid border, right? But if I click back in here, I can change it to where it's a dotted line. Okay, looks like the what they call the ants. I can make it a larger. Almost looks like a cutout, right? I could use this if I wanted to have my kids do some cutout stuff. Again, I'm thinking first grade because that's what I taught forever. But that's what I see when I see these little lines. It reminds me of, oh, we're going to cut that out with a pair of scissors. I can change the line so it's, you know, almost like Morse code, I guess, is the best term for it, and etc. You see, these are the only options that you're given. I'll stick with the solid line though, but you can actually do that as well. So if you had some things that you were making and you wanted them to either cut something out, or if you just wanted it to make it look a little bit different, you can actually add that border in there, and that's pretty nice little feature to have as well. Okay, we talked about the text. And of course, you have all the same text options that you have here. The link, the comments, right? We have all that. And then the format options, which is what we looked at earlier. So if I click on the text here, all right, and I don't have a drop shadow right now, but I can add one. And you'll see right underneath there's a little bit of a drop shadow. I can change the angle of that drop shadow, the distance. Yep, did you see how that drop shadow is? See that? I can make it far, far away or as close as I want to the text. Radius, the blur radius, how blurry it is. And then I can also add a reflection, just like I could with the image. So you can do the same thing with text as well. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do just in Google Draw. And again, this is free. For the text fitting, I haven't really gotten into this much, but you can add padding to your text, like where it's located within the text box if you want to go that deep. If you're working on something and you really want to make sure that it is precise, you can do that as well. The position, it is telling me where the position of the text is. I can change it here, but to me, the easiest way to change where the text is just by moving the box. To me, that's the easiest way to do it. I don't see a need to use some of these features. Now, again, some people, they really want to use these, and that's perfectly cool. That's perfectly fine. Okay. All right, let's talk a little bit about this guy right here, paint format. Okay, so for the paint format, come on now. Is it gonna let me do it? Maybe. Let's see. It's not gonna let me do it. Let's try it again. All right, it's deciding to be a little obstinate today. I'd like to go into that. We'll wait on that one for maybe it'll wake itself up. I'm wondering if it's something has something to do with with our bandwidth or something. All right. So we've talked about, of course, the download and make available offline. Now this is if you have your Google Draw application, and you have it set up where you can do things offline, and then you'll be able to get in there. I don't think you're going to be able to do a lot of editing in there because it's not as easy to use as it is to use online. Okay, so that's something to think about. Now you can also print. Now when with the download, you'll see that you do have the option to save it as a PDF. So if I click that, what it's going to do, it just downloaded my practice picture to my desktop as a PDF. But there's also the print option, and if you can do this two ways. You can do it from the download and download it as a PDF, but you can also click print, and it's going to generate the preview of it. And this is how a lot of people they print PDFs, and this works with everything. So if you destination, you save it as a PDF. And then you click save. What it's going to do is it's going to save it on your computer as a PDF. So let's say you're online and you get that print button and you're like, oh, I don't have a printer attached. Instead of saving, of sending it to one of your printers, and I have just a couple of printers in here. You could also save it to Google Drive, but you can save it as a PDF, and it will save on your computer as a PDF. So again, you can download it as a PDF, but if I'm on a site somewhere, or this print option doesn't just work in Google Draw, it works everywhere. So when you click print and you don't want to print it actually onto paper, you can make sure that you click on to save as a PDF, and it will save it for you, and then you'll have that PDF copy of it. And PDF is usually pretty solid. Okay, and then you just click save, and then it'll save it as a PDF for you. But I already downloaded it, so I don't need to save it a second time. Okay. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Are there any questions? Does anybody want to see something?
There are some questions, Michelle.
Yes,
we have several people who would like to know.
I'm sorry, I'm not on that sheet, so I can't see them. And so.
Oh, that's okay. No. We have several people who would like to know how to start a Google Drive, Google Drawings. Sorry. What are the ways to open one up to make a Google Drawings?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to click on a different tab here, and I'm going to share this tab instead. So this right here is my Google Drive, right? Okay. So remember, I always tell you, you drive to get to work. So the first thing you want to do is go to your drive, and then you're going to click new. And you don't see it right here. So you just hover over more, and it's the second option right here. Okay. When you click on it, let me share this tab now. And now it is opening up an untitled drawing for me. We have my practice one that we had memorial and all of that stuff on it. And this one is a brand new one that I just opened up right now. And of course, the first thing I want to do is I want to rename it. So I'm just going to rename it Answer 1. Okay, just because we're answering the question here. And now I'm ready to start. If the first thing that I would do, though, is I would think in my head, okay, how big do I want this Google Draw to be? And then I would go to File and go down to the page setup. Okay, and then remember the standard is 4 by 3. And I'm going to go to Custom. Now I like Custom. I don't want this, so maybe I want to do 8.5 by 11 inches, and I click Apply, and there. Now it's a standard piece of paper. If I did 11 by 8.5, of course, it would be landscape. Okay, but you see this right down here? I can actually pull this, and I can actually make it a little bit bigger. It gives me a little more, area to work in. But again, to change the size, page setup, and you see it changed because I made it a little bit bigger. So if I go back in here and I go, okay, we want 8.5 by just 11 because I don't want that extra little bit in there. And then it just shrunk it back down. So now this is 8.5 by 11. Okay. So that's how I'd start. And then you can start adding your pieces to it. If you want to add shapes, change the color of those shapes, text boxes, images, lines, you can add all of that in here. And remember that you can go in, and once you put an image in here, okay, I'm just going to add an image real quick here. Look up my favorite thing here. Just going to add this guy. Once you put him in there, then you've got your handles, and now you're able to format him, and then you can crop him, reset it, and then you do your format options here. But you have to have your handles around it, otherwise it won't work.
I was gonna also ask, somebody asked about putting a border around your image.
Yes. So I can do that as well. Because right now I don't have a border around my image. Okay. So I'm going to go, right now it's transparent. So I can put a black border around my image, and it's at 1 pixel. I'm going to make it 4 pixels. And now let's make it 16 pixels. You see, there's my border. And if I don't like the black border, I can change it to red or blue. Okay, so that's how you get that border around there. If you don't want that border in around your image, just make it transparent. There, it's gone.
Okay.
Piece of cake. Any other questions? We are down to about 4 minutes.
Really. Just a question about the recording. Again, our recordings are all accessible on YouTube through our Innovative Learning channel. You'll look for Mini Mondays and it will be there. It will not go up immediately. YouTube has been a little bit laggy lately, and so uploading videos has taken a lot longer than we had expected. So just be patient, keep checking back. It'll be up
But
there.
it'll be up there. I will only have 4 to do for today, but I am training all day today, so I won't be able to get to that until probably either late this evening or tomorrow. So they won't be up until probably tomorrow afternoon at some point, but they will be up. And again, you're going to be getting a link for the bit.ly to get your badge and everything. We're going to be sending that email out to you. Since I am training all day today, it's going to be sometime today that you will get that link, and you'll be able to fill out your form and to get your badge and all of that. And the email will come from me. I will send it out to everybody that was at the session, and hopefully you'll be able to fill that out. And again, that's not a requirement. You do not have to have that, but I would want to have that from my principal for the T-tests. Just to say, hey, I went to this training during the summer, and I learned this stuff.
Yeah. And if you don't happen to get that that link by the end of today, give her 1 extra day. That will be generous.
Yeah, and then
and
then if
we're busy
something
today.
I know we're going nonstop until 5, I think, today.
Yes.
But if for some reason you don't get it by tomorrow, please email me, and I will make sure that you do get the link. I just don't even have the time to go in there and create a bit.ly today, because right after this session we have another session. We have them all running all day.
Back to back. No breaks.
Back to back. Yeah, we're going to be super tired by the end of today, but it's okay. This is all for teachers and for kids. That's what's important. Are there any other questions? Anything else I can help you with? Not that I have all the answers, but if I don't know, I'll find out for you. It
is 9:29. So if you guys have any questions for Misha, this is your time to ask. So that
I'm going to tell you to go in there and play with Google Draw. I mean, you can't mess it up. And if you don't like it, all you got to do is delete it out of your drive. I mean, just that particular Google Draw, I did, just delete it. Just hit the trash can and it's gone.
And it's so much fun to discover new features of any kind of app or program. You get in there and, Misha gave a great overview of how to use it. And I think you can just jump in and just try stuff out and kind of just explore Google Drawings and see what else it might do. I mean, And
again, don't forget that checkerboard means that part is transparent. and I just had a thought, like, let's say I wanted to make like some text that was like on a transparent background. Sure. I'm going to take this guy off, and I just put some text in here, right? Put some text in here, and that's really tiny. Let's make that, we'll make that super big right there. There we go. If I put text in here and I were to download this, you would just see the text, and all of this part right here would just be a transparent background. So you can use that for your web pages or for all kinds of other things that you can use. You know I like to have text with a transparent background, and sometimes it's hard to get that and edit that. Like if you find some text that you like and you're trying to get that background, that color out of it, and what ends up happening, like if you have an E, like the E looks like it's all messed up because you're trying to do like the what is that called, the instant alpha. You're trying to remove that background. Or now you don't have to. You can just put some text in here, and then you automatically have a transparent background. And if you need to, you can resize this. Don't forget, you can resize your canvas at any time. It's not like it's set in stone.
Can you try Paint again?
Oh, the Paint? Yeah, let me see if it'll let me. Hopefully it will let me. It's I don't know why it's not working the way it's supposed to work. I apologize for that.
I always have trouble with Paint. I don't know.
That's why I like to use the
bucket.
the bucket instead if I'm gonna put something on the page. I don't think it's in this one. I don't think this is. No, that's just the print settings. That's just on the Google Docs, where you can actually change the entire color of the background. If I wanted to change the color of the background, the way I do it, because it's just easier for me, and if you find a better way, let me know. I just make a big box, and you'll see now if I want this to be in behind, I'm going to actually change this color to like this color, even though that color is kind of like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Arrange, and I'm going to send this to the back. And then now everything else comes forward. And then this would be my background. I'm gonna have to look into that Paint. I don't know. I know that on Saturday we were doing a training, and our Google was working a little bit odd, and Larry's like, they're doing another update. They're doing another update. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. So I don't know if maybe I'm still like a little behind on that update because I did not have something that he had. So it could be that maybe my machine is updating at the time. I hope not. I have lots of presentations today. So any other questions? Anything else I can help you with?
Yes, Misha, I typed it in. I guess everyone was typing thank you really fast. When I try to group the word in the box, like we're going to move around, my option is faded and it won't give me the option to group. Am I doing something wrong? Okay.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it for you right here. Just and that way, and make sure that this is, so here's my box, right? Okay. And I'm going to take my text and I'm going to put my text inside. Now you'll see that it's in behind, right? So let me order this. Let me bring this to the front so that way we can see it. All right. So I have I have my box that's my text box that's selected. So I'm going to right click on the background here. Okay. And now it's going to allow me to group them because I've selected both of them. Actually, I think I've selected the background too, and I'm going to group.
Okay, so I would click on, if I have the shape or the text, I click on the background picture and hit.
You can click on either one. So if you put your box first, let's say that you did your shape first. Okay, and then you did your text. It doesn't matter which one you click that is selected. Just right click on the other one that you want to group them together, and the Google knows. Oh, do you want to try to group these together? And then you'll see that word group. Okay. If you want me to, I'll do it again here. Let me do it again.
Because I'm trying that right now. Like I have the shape a rectangle with the word hi on it, and when I click on it. And I'm trying to group, and
okay. Did you type the word actually in here? Because you can type in here, you know. I'm typing, and all I did was I double clicked inside of my box, and it let me type inside of my box.
No, I typed it separate like you did the text box.
Okay.
I like how you did that.
Okay. Yeah, I
grouping?
like that way. I like that way better. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put this back in here
Okay.
inside my box. Okay. And you'll see that I have my text box selected. So what I'm going to do, since I already have this selected, I want to select my shape that's back here. So I'm going to right click on it. And when I do, it selected both of them, and now they're grouped together. So now when I move them, they move together.
Okay, let me try that really fast.
Okay.
Okay. For some reason, it's not letting me. I'll keep working with it though.
Okay. I'm sorry. I wish I could see your screen so I could kind of help you with that. And then if you don't want them grouped anymore, then you just you click on it and go back up to arrange and click on group, and now they won't be. Well, maybe I didn't click it. Come on. There we go. And now they are ungrouped.
Okay, I'll keep working with it. Thank you.
Yeah, it might be a little glitchy because we're in this meet with all these people, and yeah, I'm finding that I'm having to click a few times to get something to go, and I think it's just because we're using a lot of memory and bandwidth and everything, and I apologize for that. So.
No problem. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, ladies. Thank you.
All right.
Misha, there's no survey, correct?
No, there's not a survey for this. No, we did not. We were told that we didn't have to create one for the hour sessions. But like I said, you will be getting a link for the Bitly later this afternoon.
Yes.
So that will be going out. That'll be going out then. I promise.
And again, all of our sessions are full today, and we don't have any we didn't double up on any of our sessions. Like we're not doing the same presentation twice today, and they are full. So
yes. I don't know how many people we had in here today, but
the biggest number I had, I think, was like 83 or 84.
Wow. Yeah. Because I think we had over 100 on the, but things happen, and people.
Yeah.
I'll come back. I'll just watch it online, and which is fine too.
Yeah. So I see a lot of thank yous and a lot of great presentation. Good job, Misha.
Shoo.
I was
sweating there for a little bit.
I know. It's a good one though. It's something that I think everybody can use. It's
a great tool.
I really think it's a lot about getting in there and just trying it out, because once you learn one of these, like the drawing here, I find that a lot of the information, a lot of the tools transfer over to other programs, other apps. It's like the same, like the same little icons. They do the same sort of thing, so once you learn it in one platform, you can definitely transfer that knowledge into another one. So
did you take attendance, Miss?
I think I did. It should have been automatically. It says 85.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and if it'll let me, can you show me how to access your recorded trainings? Yes. The recorded trainings are actually on our Innovative Learning site. I don't have the link.
You know what? I'll look for the link right now.
Okay.
And that way you can, I'll post it right now.
Okay. Thank you. And I did create a channel for Mini Mondays. So all of our recordings will be going there to the Mini Monday channel that's within our YouTube channel or playlist, I should say. It's a playlist that's within the channel.